Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. This is our Garden Tour Club video for the month of June, hosted by Gail at Gail's Southern Living. The collab runs from March through August, and Gail has monthly giveaways that you can enter yourself in just by simply leaving a comment on any one of the videos in the playlist. Empty containers? It could only mean one thing. Yep, the garden is planted. So you can see I've done rows because someday I'm hoping to have a greenhouse or a hoop house. You know, it's in the 5-year plan. So I'm basically setting up the rows in the garden for that. And it's all mounds. And in the beginning here is all perennials. Things that come back every year. I'm not going to have to worry about it. It's just going to come up and it's going to be there. And the rest of the garden are usually things that I go ahead and plant. Flowers on the cucumbers. I just want to talk about watering a little bit. We use the mound system, I guess you would call it. I don't water the plants, meaning I don't get the leaves and the flowers all wet. I water the mounds that they're in. A lot of people talk about, well, I don't have a good crop, I just have a lot of flowers. If you're using a sprinkler or you're watering your plants from the top, you're washing away that pollen. Very rarely do I water from the top. And of course the rain does that. So no need to do that. And it saves water by just watering the mounds where the plants are. Not your walkways, just the plants. I found that works good for us. Also, we're on a well and I don't want to waste water. Check out the peppers. These are all red peppers. And we have banana peppers and poblanos. These are the Armageddons. Now these ones I have learned I need to start them a little sooner. But they'll be fine. They'll still give us a crop. But they could be a lot taller. They are a very slow growing pepper plant. The Armageddon. Spicy. Again, I did not plant the sunflowers in this garden. The squirrels did. And then I dug them up and transplanted them to where I wanted them in the garden. 3rd year in a row, I have not had to plant or start any seeds of sunflowers. So thank you to the squirrels. And these are the Scotch bonnets. I love straw, guys. It keeps the moisture in and keeps the weeds out. Definitely into the mound system. These are the mortgage lifter tomatoes. Doing well. And these are all Romas. Yay. So we always do have some things that don't work out. This is fennel. Started fennel on the 17th of April, guys. 1,000 seeds. I ended up with 1. Clearly something is wrong with the seeds. So I know I have to buy some more fennel at the nursery. Cantaloupe. Doing well. I just planted 2 zucchini seeds. I'm sure they'll pop up soon. Also planted 2 buttercup squashes. I don't even know if I've ever planted those before. I gotta check my notebook. But that was for my friend Jen over at Northern Girl Hobbies. Another sunflower. And pumpkins. This kale is on its 2nd year. It survived winter and came back beautifully. We pick kale literally every other day. Whether I freeze it, throw it in a meal, throw it in a salad. Look at that beautiful soil in the mounds. So many different layers. Coconut coir, manure, our soil right here on the property. Time to harvest some mint so I can make some iced tea. I wash the mint well and add it to a mason jar and add 8 cups of water and 4 tea bags. And I'll just put it here in the sun. Jason and I are adding the black fabric down in the garden. Another project getting done. While I add the straw on top of the black fabric, Jason was removing the pool cover and, to our surprise, a bunch of tadpoles. Bucket of tadpoles. Jason saved many that were on the pool cover. Those peepers. Going to the pond they are. Tadpoles. Herons. You're a good man. Saving all the peepers. You did great. Everything they need is right there. We made it back to the house just in time, and the rain started. Garden is all watered. The raccoons, the cleanup crew, have a lot to clean up tonight. Fresh water for all. We had a moment where the rain decided to stop, and I figured, well, I'm going to go back out to the garden. I want to hang up this flagging tape so it can blow in the wind and the deer won't stop by. And the scarecrow's all dressed up. Before Jason and I laid down the black paper in the garden, we used our vinegar weed spray recipe and around the pool. Before and after the weed spray. If you haven't already checked out our weed spray recipe, I will link it at the end. Time to get back inside. Here comes the rain again. The basil plant from last year. The more you use it and pull the leaves, it won't go to seed, and you'll have basil all year round. Basil. More growing. Lavender. So pretty. So proud of the lavender. Lemon balm. Look at the beetles that stopped by. Get gone, beetles. Corn. That's an awesome sight. Beans are popping up too. Beans. Well, had a little debacle here in the garden. Our hickory tree broke in the high winds last night. Oh well, it happens. Tiger lilies. Pretty, pretty. Gourds are climbing up. My dehydrated herbs are all ready to be put into the jars. They are dry and crispy. I've been picking at least every other day and dehydrating. I'm filling up quite a few jars already. Spices for later. I picked another handful of basil. Might as well dehydrate it. Talk about container gardening. As you can see, this container does not hold a lot of soil. In 90-degree heat, this soil will dry up whether or not I have watered it completely or not. You don't want your plants to get stressed out. So in the morning, I go ahead and I fill up this whole container till the water drips out of the bottom. When the water drips out of the bottom, I know this container is completely filled, and even in 90-degree heat, she is going to be nice and watered. Same thing over here with the basil. I'll fill up all this container until I see water coming out of the bottom. And when the water comes out of the bottom of the planter, I know that all of those roots are nice and moist and they're not having heat stress in any way. Proper watering really does help, especially in this heat. I never have a plant bolt. I mean, very, very rarely. This basil plant is over a year old. Last year I took it out of the garden. It was right here in my pretty little herb garden on the deck. Brought it in the house over winter. The more you use your herbs, the more they grow and they won't go to seed. Literally every other day I'm grabbing handfuls of basil, bringing them in the house and dehydrating them or using them in a meal, a salad, whatever. And the more it grows. I do allow it to go to seed towards the end of the season, so I have more seeds. Beautiful basil. I wanted to talk about rose bushes for just a minute. You can see right here I clipped it because it bloomed the flower, and I cut it right before the notch, and it already sent out another. Same thing over here. We had 3 beautiful roses already on here, and then I clipped. And look, more growth. This one here is almost done. It's drying up, and I'm going to clip it right here, which is going to send out shoots, just like this one did. I like to protect some of my seeds when I'm starting them outside, and so I use some mesh, a little bit of straw, and like a cage from my greenhouse, because otherwise the squirrels will love to go in there and plant baby trees for us. Like this one here, planted by a squirrel 2 years ago. These are Brussels sprouts from last year. I let them come back this year and give us beautiful flowers for the bees in the spring. And of course, it went to seed. And now I have plenty of seeds for the future. So for this year's garden, it's too late to start Brussels sprouts. They do need a lot more time. So I'm probably going to pick up a 6-pack or something at my local nursery. Honeydew. Mason bees are already doing their job. Up a squash. We planted some peas. Those should be coming up soon. So around here I do like using the straw when I'm planting seeds, only because of the squirrels and the chipmunks like to dig up all the corn. And of course every seed has come up, so this is great. Lots of corn this year. And right here is where the scarecrow will be going, right next to this sunflower. If you notice, there's no garden fencing. We don't use garden fences. We did for years. So we did this. We put up this fence for all the crawlers. And as you saw me hanging those up earlier in the video, just having a little movement in the garden. We don't see any deer here in the yard and the garden. So that's a blessing. It really seems to work between that and the scarecrow. Eggplants are doing well. I decided this year to put them all by themselves in this big barrel, which will give them plenty of room for their roots. And I put the mesh on them because I'm so sick of those flea bugs. This barrel is all volunteer flowers from last year. Marigolds, cosmos, zinnias, petunias. It's going to be a surprise. Perfect. I can never say the name of this. It's like Tradescacia grass. I don't even know. I'm just going to put it on the screen for you. Can't pronounce it. Absolutely beautiful. Blooms every day. Every day. Coneflower. So proud of this plant. Couple sunflowers. And the asparagus, letting a lot of it go to seed again. But we've been eating plenty of asparagus, guys. And there's more shoots coming up. But it's really a good idea to let it seed itself. And you'll end up with more and more asparagus. And check out all the baby columbines. So happy about this. Since we're getting ready to transplant a lot of plants out front, look at all of the columbine I have. I'm so excited about this. I don't need to start any more plants. They're all right here. They're just beautiful. She not only seeded herself, but she seeded the garden for me. Look at all the seeds. Just shake it. Let it seed itself right in place. There we go. Perfect. Daylily. Beautiful yellow. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's talk about rhubarb. I don't know how much rhubarb that you guys use, but wow. I planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's more than I need. Jason and I have enough rhubarb. It's unbelievable. I already have frozen 3 bags worth. And there's more growing. I already dehydrated a lot of lemon balm. And of course, chives. I just keep cutting it and cutting it. And I have baby plants also. I can dig up for a friend. Lots of sage. Rosemary is handling transplant very well. And of course, nothing stops the mint. Can you see the size of these pepper plant stems already? These are going to grow as tall as me. One thing I have learned out of all the gardening that I have done, and I'm 53, so I've been gardening since I was a young kid, the mounds hold moisture. I don't mess with the mounds. I don't till the mounds. And very rarely do I get a weed in the mounds. The mounds are layers and layers of soil. Coconut coir, manure, our own clay / sandy soil that we have here. And then I put the straw on top. So even if I'm gone for 4 days with 90-degree weather, these plants will not dry out, because not only do they have all the nutrition and all the moisture in those mounds, but they are also grabbing it from the ground. So if you live in a warm climate, you may want to try the mound system. It really works. I'm sold on it. If you live in a cold climate, the mound system may work better for you also, because the mounds are going to defrost sooner than the ground, which means you may be able to plant even earlier. Probably 15 years we have been using the mound system, and it never fails us. Jason and I have learned how to grow less and end up with more. I'm not kidding you when I say our pepper plants will give us 100 peppers on one plant. Look at those Roma stems. Already so strong. Jason and I always have enough food for 1 year. That was our goal. And we still have things in the freezer from last year's garden. So actually, I guess we'll be like a year and 2 or 3 months. That's great. Right here, I'm going to be buying a cow panel next week, and Jason's going to put it up for me. It's going to create a nice arch. And our 2 rose bushes are going to go right here in the garden. Butterfly house. Butterfly bushes. We're moving 2 of these to the front of the house. So excited about that. So again, Jason and I are just sharing some of our tips and tricks that we like to do in the garden that makes things so much easier for us. We don't waste water. We have healthy plants and a lot of food to go in the freezers and canning. Another thing we love to do is the rope system. We don't use those cages. We get a lot of wind here. I'm going to end up weaving those plants in between the ropes, and they will just sway and never break, and I won't lose my beautiful plants. Just another trick that you might want to try, and the ropes are very inexpensive. Now it's official. Happy gardening! If you haven't already met Jason and I, P&J, here's a trailer so you can see what we've been up to around here.